Hello, everybody. Thursday's Mindtrust Mastery in association with Noble Goldman. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about Chat GPT prompts and how to use them to create an effective social media strategy. We're going to use two examples. One of them is for legacy builder, and in fact, this very mastermind that we're on right now. The other example is from a M1 business that I own, which is a mobile pizzeria business here in Ireland. I literally did the prompts this morning, and you can replicate similar prompts. Okay, so the purpose of this whole thing here is that we're going to develop some prompts that are effective, because the more detailed and specific your question is to ChatGPT, the more likely you are to get the answer that you want, with all of the levels of complexity that you require or desire. Okay. You do need to know a little bit about what the topic you're talking about in order to get the right answer, because you need the right prompt. Okay, but still, and it's not always correct, but certain things it'll always get right from my experience. Okay, so that being said, Roger, you want to start us off?
It is said that when two minds come together, a third more powerful mind is created.
Mindtrust principles. The purpose of this Mindtrust is to go deeper than we have ever gone before and be fully seen and acknowledged as the powerful divine beings we truly are.
We co-create via the unified field through each of us coming together in a spirit of harmony.
We believe that the core values of integrity, respect, and connection, growth, and contribution lay the foundation for trust.
We are collaborative. We listen without interrupting, lecturing, or judging. And through our collaboration, we increase the value and power of our contribution.
This I declare. I agree to respect all of you, focusing on building true relationships with no hidden agendas.
I am honest and participate by giving thoughtful feedback.
I'm focused, but I also think it's important to have fun during meetings.
I am ready to let go of beliefs that are not serving me.
This I believe and embody. In this Mindtrust, as we mastermind together in a spirit of unity and non-judgment, we generate an infinite amount of sacred creative energy.
This process also gives us the opportunity for self-mastery, where the self-transcendence shifts from the me to the we to the us occurs.
As congruence and engagement increases, the world's consciousness is then raised one meaningful and inspired relationship at a time. And this
is why we mastermind.
Okay, so getting better there.
One question before we start, right?
Say that again. Sorry, Renata.
One question before we start.
Okay.
I have my own mastermind now, and I would like to use your statements and modify them a little bit for my mastermind. Would that be okay with you?
Absolutely, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
The reason why the answer is yes, for anybody maybe watching this as a recording, because I'm going to share this particular call for a variety of reasons on our YouTube channel, okay, is everything we're doing here is about mutual aid, cooperation, and collaboration. The mastermind principles that are used by Bob Proctor come to my knowledge more or less directly from Napoleon Hill and Earl Nightingale, and that sort of that lineage that have been created for that purpose, right? And they were quite different to what we've just used there. So the ones that I'm using are a combination of some principles that myself and Christo created when we were still the fun guys, and we used to do those calls, and then also part of Martin's work in building principles for your desired success. which you will also find very soon on the platform as well. And you'll see links below here to grab yourself an account, which is a free account that you can get to kind of come and begin to mastermind with us if you wish. And then there are obviously paid subscriptions on the platform as well. So leaving all that aside, yes, absolutely, you can use them. I'll give you the text file and you can modify them any which way you like. If you want to jump on a call with me to go through what you've created, or just fire them over to me through Messenger or similar, I'll be able to give you some pointers on what I think. And assuming that's relevant, then, you know, they'll put a bit more shape on them for you. I done them before and I did them and they were too long. I put too much in there. And so that's the shortened version. And I tried to incorporate the mission statement of the platform in there as well, without having to have it as a separate thing, which is the way it is in the other call, right? So anyway, with that being said, I'd like us all just take a moment here just to touch base with what wins have come up for the last week before we dig into the topic. Now, I'm not going to be sharing anything sensitive about my business, obviously, because I'm going to post this on social media. But it's just a good example, a case study of how you can, whoever may be watching this, can use ChatGPT for a practical reason. And, you know, if you come and join us here, we will happily share with you the list of prompts and all that sort of stuff. And you can apply it to your own business. So what we're doing here in this mastermind is encourage everybody to become consciously aware how they're turning up in the world, not just in terms of their financial life, but generally that's where people start because it's where they have the most need, typically. So the people that are coming to us are drifting, basically, whether it be spiritually, emotionally, physically, or financially. And if you know what I mean by drifting, this idea comes from a book called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, published in 1939, or sorry, written 1939, not published until quite recently for the reasons that are fairly obvious from the title. It's an actual interview with the devil about how he creates misery and failure, and also what are the things that you can do to overcome this hypnotic rhythm that's taking place on the planet, which causes people to drift in the first place. So, and there's 7 steps on how you can get over drifting. But today we're going to be just talking about the 3 paths that you can walk in terms of your finances. The first one, we call them M1, M2, M3. Everyone on the call here is already familiar with this content because this is something we've talked about for a long time now. And we've been masterminding for years together. But just for the purpose of this recording, M1 is trading your time for money, or trading your skills for money, typically including your time. So in the case of the example I'm going to use today is an example from my own life. I have a mobile pizzeria business, and we do private events, we do festivals, we do corporate stuff from time to time, and that type of thing. We generally don't set up somewhere and deal directly with the public, at least at the moment. That's not really part of the business model. But nonetheless, it is a strategy to exchange your time for money to the market with a service. And it currently requires me to be physically present. Okay. I could transition this once I have some processes and procedures and some systems in place and some staff. I'll be able to transition this to an M3, which is the next one I want to talk about. An M3 strategy is similar to M1 in the sense that you exchange something, okay, but it's not time. You're in fact investing time. How are you investing time? You're investing time to learn skills and talents, okay, or existing skills and talents, okay, and investing them into creating an asset of some sort, okay, an asset that you own. And the more ownership you have of the asset, the more you can leverage it to create residual passive income. Now, I want to be super clear. When I say the word passive income, that does not mean doing nothing and getting paid, because that is both delusional and ridiculous for a variety of reasons. Okay, you must invest your time, your efforts, and your skills into developing something, and only then can you use that to leverage. I'll give you an example. Okay, I wrote this book back in 2018. It's called Visualization to Realization. Bob Proctor wrote the foreword before he passed away, and I co-wrote it with Jackie Carroll, or you could say she co-wrote it with me, I co-wrote it with her, we both co-wrote a book, whichever way you want to look at it. However, if I had written this book on my own, I would have total leverage and ownership of the asset. However, we wrote it together. And the company that Jackie created, Genie in a Headset is the name of the company, is a virtual reality vision board that you can step into in VR, with a VR headset. Okay. And that company has investors, and those investors are the ones who funded the production and dissemination of the book to get it to this finished state. So I don't fully own the asset. I only own a portion of a percentage of the results that come from marketing and selling the asset. So this is a great example. Had I written a book myself, which I may still do, then I would own all of the rights to that book, and I would have an asset that I completely own, and therefore would have more leverage. And I might even be more inspired to go and market in different ways and do different things, because I wouldn't have anybody to answer to in relation to how I go about doing that. So equally, many years ago, I bought a house with the bank's money, I might add, right? And so I didn't use my own money, right? And skills and talents, I invested in my father's skills and talents, who had done this previously, and I got him on board. And then we developed a situation where the bank would give me some money. I bought a house, and then the rent comes in for that, and there's a surplus, and that surplus is the residual passive income that comes in from the house purchase and the difference between the rent and the mortgage. Okay, so that's another good example of an M3 strategy. There's lots of them though. It could be, let's say if I get this, when I get this mobile pizzeria business to the point where I have 4 or 5 jobs going on a week, but I'm only moving things from one place to the next, or I have somebody doing that and all I'm doing is making calls or whatever, then I will have extricated myself from that act of actually making the pizzas and delivering the service. So I've leveraged it a little bit now, and it's moving towards an M3 strategy. Ultimately, if I had a manager in there who was doing the job that then I'd moved into, and I had 3 or 4 of them on the road, and all I was doing was focusing on the, working with the accountant and working with the manager, then it will be much closer to an M3 style strategy, because I would have multiple sources of income pouring in but I built it. So I had to invest the time and learn the skills and talent. So what I now know after 2 years of running this business is 20 times more than I knew before, because I knew zero. And I would not recommend anyone start a business in an industry you know nothing about. It's incredibly challenging. So I wouldn't wish it on anybody. Well, the point is that that's how you move for it. Okay, so that's M1, trade time for money. M3, invest time to learn skills and talents to build an asset of some sort, or buy an asset and leverage the asset to create residual passive income, which means you did do the work, but you get paid more than once for doing the work. Okay, so if that book sells, even though I don't own all of the rights to it. I still get a percentage of it, and the work was done 8 years ago. I'm sorry, 6 years ago. Okay, so now the second one is M2. And M2 is when you have created some level of additional income. It could be a tenner, could be 100, could be 1,000 per month. Doesn't really matter what it is. You invest only 10% of it. In other words, 10% of what you can afford to lose. And you invest it into, no, I didn't mean an M3, I meant an M2. So let me clarify. I said M2.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Lloyd. I thought you were also moved on from the M1 to the M2, but the investing time.
No, actually that's a good point. That is somewhat confusing. So it starts M1, M3, and then you use 10% of what you've earned in these areas to go into M2. That's how it works. There's no point in investing if you don't have any assets that are giving you income. Because
So
now
the investing time to learn skills was the M3, is that right?
that's right, yeah. So the reason why I'm saying this is it's better, in my view, just in my view, not to invest earned income, but instead to invest leveraged income. Does anybody have a question about what that means, or is that super clear?
I think that's clear, because I think what you're meaning is that asset that you produce, like your book, you're using that to invest money, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So, and if you don't have any residual income coming in, well, you can develop some, and then it's coming in all the time. So it's coming in every month. So you're like, oh, okay, so I've got my M1 strategy to cover my bills, but this M3 strategy is extra. So now I'm going to use some of my extra to invest. And you can do it in lots of different things. You could be doing crypto. You could be buying gold and silver. You could be buying stocks and shares. You could be doing any number of things. That's a whole nother conversation. That's an entire skill set, which I would not recommend giving to a third party to manage for you, especially if that third party is an employee of a company that does those things, because they don't care and they don't make any money if you make money. So there's no incentive for them to make good choices. And employees and investors think completely differently. Anyway, it's a different type of mindset. So that's a whole nother kettle of fish. I'm not going to get into it. It's not my area of expertise, so I'm not going to get into it. So that's that. Okay. So just to give you some context, that's the three paths that you can and should arguably be walking when term comes to your finances. Does that mean that you must have lots of money in order to do any of these things? No. Does that mean that you can only focus in one area, otherwise you're splitting your attention? No. The idea of your M1 is to cover bills. If you want to develop it into a massive strategy where you're making lots of money doing that, by all means, go ahead. But if you want to create a bit of long-term stability that's not dependent on the M1 strategy only, then these other options are a good idea. So we're going to be talking about on the call today is a program that we're all doing. And the reason why we're doing it is very simple. There are basically 4 groups of people. Okay. Those 4 people are the types of people that are going to suit this program. Okay. The first person is a complete beginner. Okay. So if you're watching this and you're a complete beginner and you don't know how social media really works, how it can be effective for you, you don't know how to use different AI tools and things like that. You don't really know how the likes of the design tools like Canva work. You've never built an audience on social media before. You don't have a business and you don't know how to run a business and you've never run an online business before, then this program that we're all doing will be perfect for you, because it teaches you the fundamentals of how to set up an entire online business that's legitimately yours. Okay. And you can use it to create a business or a coaching business of your own, or a product business of your own if you wish. But there's also the option to market the program itself, which is also very lucrative, and all the training is provided there as well, right? So I've seen programs like this over the years, and I ignored all of them because I thought they were total nonsense. And I'm now reflecting now when I'm doing this program, why didn't I do this a long time ago? This is a total no-brainer. And in fact, the thing that held me back was my own skepticism. So skepticism is a great idea in the absence of logic. But as soon as logic comes along, we go, you know what? I know loads of people who have online businesses. They seem to have more freedom than I do. Maybe I should find out at the very least how they did what they did, and see whether or not it's something that might be a fit for me, recognizing it's going to be a steep learning curve because I don't know anything about what they're doing. Okay, so that'll be the first group of people. Second group of people is someone's an intermediate, like me, for example. Okay, so an intermediate is somebody, you've used Canva, you know how social media works, you may have built a following, you may have done some live videos, you create relatively good content. Maybe your strategy is not super structured, and you're not measuring your effectiveness and stuff like that. You're just kind of throwing stuff at the wall, being as interesting as you can, focusing on your unique selling points, and just trying to get content out there, seeing what sticks. Okay. And maybe you're confident enough, maybe you'll do a live video or you'll do a recorded video and you'll put yourself out there. You just haven't succeeded yet in making any money online, really, or any major money. Maybe that's you. And if that's the case, this is a structured approach to build it from the ground up and fill in all the skills you don't have, including developing a presence, building an audience, and learn how to turn those audience into customers of whatever it is that you may be marketing. Now, obviously, it's converting people who actually resonate with what you're talking about, who actually need and want what it is you're proposing for their benefit. Okay, fulfilling on a need or a want that they have, not you made it up and you could forced it on them and you're now trying to sell them something, but actually you fulfilling a need they have, which they're going to fulfill somewhere, whether it's with you or somebody else. So you can decide whether or not that benefits both you and them, or just them and doesn't benefit you at all. It's entirely up to you, but that's where I am. Okay, I've done lots of things. I've made a reasonable amount of money online. However, I definitely could be more effective. I could be more structured. I could use a better strategy. I could have a lot more automation, and I could get into a lot more use of ChatGPT, which is what we're going to talk about on here as well. And which I've been using over the last few weeks now, and starting to really make a big difference. The third group is somebody who is an expert marketer, and on all the various channels of which they're on, where they're doing very well and communicating very effectively and selling their own products and services and whatever, when people reach out to them on all of these things saying, hey, I really love your content, how do you do what you do, I'd love to learn, and they don't have the time to be teaching these people. Okay, so here's another tool that they can share, maybe in their email newsletter, or post once a month as a value post, or share with their community, or what have you, that they can turn into another source of income, like an M3 strategy, like we mentioned earlier, or just simply leverage somebody else's skill set. So this would be a person like a Mark Santos, for example, who is the programmer of and creator of the platform we're masterminding on right now. And he just doesn't have the time to create a program like this. He could if he wanted to, but he's got other stuff to do. He's programming a whole platform and doing all this other stuff, but he has all those skill sets, but he doesn't have the time. And so it makes sense for him to communicate this program to others so that they can learn themselves, supported by a whole team of people that are already doing it and that are collaboratively helping one another with loads of support videos and technical support and customer service and all that stuff already sorted that doesn't require him to do anything and use any of his time. Okay. And then the fourth person is somebody who wants to build a legacy. Means maybe they were born and built their brand and their expertise before the internet became a big thing. Okay, so these are our elders, essentially. Okay. People like a lot of the people in Joy's team. Okay, they're in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, and they are incredibly talented, incredibly knowledgeable, really centered, spiritual people with so much value and done incredible things in the world. They just don't understand how the online world works whatsoever. And they just want to know, how do I get everything that's in me and communicate it to future generations as a legacy and turn that into something that's going to sort of give me financial stability and also something I can pass on to my children as a legacy product, like a legacy source of income. So they're the four groups. Okay. So if you're in any of these groups, then this is likely something you should take a look at. Now, I'm going to tell you should do it because I don't know whether you should do it or not. Maybe you're lazy, in which case, definitely don't do it. Maybe just don't ever follow through on things. And if that's you, absolutely don't do it, because you will not get the results that you hope to get because your habits don't support the things that are going to be required of you. And you need to actually want it. So if you don't want to make money online, you want to go and become a dentist, don't do this. This is a waste of your time. So with that in mind, we're going to just dig into this topic here. Okay. Everybody clear on that so far? Does that make sense, everybody? Okay. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about then is, let me see, where's ChatGPT? Over here somewhere. There we go. Okay. So I started this whole conversation around this mobile pizzeria business that I have. Okay. And so what I'm proposing here is I've created a new chat in ChatGPT. Now, where do you find this? You go to a site called OpenAI. Okay. So it's chat openai.com. Okay. Let's see exactly how do we go about getting in here. Chat. Okay, so it's changed. Okay, so chatgpt.com. And it will ask you to go ahead and create an account. And you can create an account, as you can see here on the right-hand corner. I created one with my Google account. And I signed in via my Gmail password and email. Does everybody see that? In the top corner here. Yeah? Does everybody on the call have a ChatGPT account? Yeah, okay.
I started one a year ago, but I haven't used it since. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, so as you can see, I've asked it loads of questions, like I was asking about a Renault Traffic 1998 wheels. So like very specific telling me where I can find a breaker's yard that'll find these things, right? I was asking questions about what sort of is a bolt pattern that's compatible with a vintage 14-inch Renault 4L wheel. But you can ask questions like that and it'll give you answers. Now, today, excuse me, today we're going to be asking about something specific to do with a business. And so, excuse me, I got a bit of a tickly cough here. So I have a business called Buska Cobble, which is Irish for horsebox. We are a mobile pizzeria and cafe service based on the east coast of Ireland. Excuse me, serving customers in Wexford, Wicklow, and South Dublin. So if you're not in Ireland, that'll mean nothing to you. But anyway, the types of gigs we want to get are as follows. Special celebrations at home, as you can see, parties, first communions, christenings, confirmations, and staff appreciation days at school and businesses. Okay, so it tells me, look, it sounds like an exciting adventure or venture. You need to define your brand messaging and USBs and gives you suggestions. Now, by the way, I hadn't finished here. I pressed enter by mistake and hadn't really finished the prompt. Nonetheless, it gave me out all this information about talk about local pride, fresh and authentic, emphasize how mobile and flexible it is, how adaptable the menus are, which is very accurate. Optimize your online presence. That's something I've already done. Target marketed for different event types. Where I can do this, can partner with event planners, local Facebook groups, community boards, the whole lot. And this is something for a physical business. Okay. Leverage local networks and word of mouth. Consider time-limited promotions, customer reviews, testimonials, follow-up events. Okay. Now I said, and this part requires me to know a little bit about how social media marketing works. Okay, you can very quickly watch a video on YouTube asking, how do I decide what hashtags to use for my business? I heard recently, well, actually maybe a few years ago, you should have 10 hashtags. You can use 30 hashtags on a post, and you can use 12 on a story. Okay. So what you do is you first pick your hashtags, and then you have them in your notes on your phone or your computer, and you just add them to the bottom of every post that you make, and you start becoming known in those hashtags. Now, obviously, if you pick hashtags that have over 1 million uses, your videos are not going to be the ones that are at the top for fairly obvious reasons, but they will be in the mix. So because I'm in Ireland and it's quite a small market that I'm talking about, I said, give me a list of 30 trending hashtags in the food service industry in these counties, which are areas basically like provinces or whatever. Break them up into 10 hashtags with 1,000 or more, 10 hashtags with 10,000 or more, and 10 hashtags with 1,000 or more. Okay. I want these to be used at the bottom of each post on my Instagram page. I would also like a separate list in response to, in your response with 12 shortlisted hashtags from the list above to put on stories when I'm sharing to get the maximum reach for my content. So I'm training in this thread here, and I would suggest use different threads for different topics, by the way. I'm training it on the type of stuff that I want and I'm interested in. So here's the response it gave me. There's ones with 100,000. These are ones I wouldn't necessarily have thought of. Ones with 10,000, ones with 1,000. And then I'm like, okay, and here's my 12 for stories. All I need to do is copy and paste them, take out the numbers, put it, just hashtags between them, and I just copy and paste them in every time. Does that make sense? Okay. Using these hashtags strategically, will help you boost Buska Cobble among your target audience in these areas. For posts, you can mix a variety of popular mid-level niche tags, stories, etc. Right? I said, great. Now let's take this strategy and plan out a 30-day social media strategy with daily post suggestions that include frequency and tone of each post. Now, you would need to know a little bit about how posting works to kind of put those words in, because those words will change the answer that you get. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah. I want to use this as a template for my posts going forward to add as much detail as possible while keeping the instructions simple and easy to follow. Okay, so here's my 30-day frequency, 5 days a week, tone, friendly, authentic, community-based, visual style, clean, inviting images, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it tells me here's what I should be posting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And here's the post plan. Meet the team, customer review highlight, event highlight, ask a question, food showcase the food, and an optional one on Saturdays for, you know, other stuff. Okay, does week 2 all the way through until I get to the final week. Does that make sense? Now, I looked at that and thought, I don't know if I have enough content at this time of year to keep it fresh with a business that's only in its 2nd year that's primarily focused on doing individual private events. So if I look at the amount of events that I've done, while they were lucrative and individually and so on, don't have a massive amount of photographic evidence because I was working on my own a lot of the time. So there was nobody there to take the photos, right? So I said to it, okay, rewrite this for a small startup mobile pizzeria in its 2nd year of operation with only 1 or 2 employees. Meaning there's no social media person that has time to be doing 5 posts a week with that level of detail, let's say. Okay, so I replanned it. It says now only 3 or 4 times a week and 15 posts a month instead of 25. Okay, same tone. The visual style includes now smartphone shots because maybe I don't have the, you know, the setup for DLSR, proper video, and all these other things, right? And now we've only got 3 days a week with an optional Saturday. Does that make sense? And the social media plan changes a little bit because now it's about meet the founder. Again, there's obviously, I do ask for comment testimonials, which I have loads of, pizza feature, and then Saturday asking questions and fun engagement. So it's done the whole thing for me there. Okay. So I might ask it a question like, what is the minimum amount of camera, audio, visual equipment needed to, including accessories, needed to do this hosting strategy effectively. Okay, so that's a question you might want to know. Okay, so let's say you just got a regular smartphone. You don't have a tripod. You don't have clip-on lapel mics, right? You don't have a directional mic. You don't have anyone to take any video for you. You don't have a clip-on ring light that you can do down photos of you preparing stuff. What do you need? So this is a great question that you can ask. And let's see what it says. Okay. Okay, interesting. So I have an iPhone 11. So immediately we're in an upgrade your phone situation here. But anyway, so smartphone with a good camera. So Samsung Galaxy S20 or similar why, it tells you why, it tells you what the bonus features are. I does have a portrait mode on my phone anyway. Does everybody know what a portrait mode is? No? What type of phone do you have?
I got the Huawei Y9.
And what one have you got there, Roger?
I have an iPhone 16.
Ah, so you definitely have one. I have two phones. This one is an iPhone 7 or 8, so it's definitely not anything very spectacular. And it has, if you go onto the camera here, and there's a few options along the bottom. So it has video, slow-mo, photo, and you just move over to portrait. And when you take the portrait, it has all of the settings to focus on the primary subject in the middle. And occasionally you just tap on the person's face or the piece of food or whatever it is that you're doing. You have to go into your camera, obviously, there. But the point is, it's just there's a menu on the bottom. You just slide it left and right, and it shows you different stuff. But the point is that the background is slightly blurred. Okay, so if you're looking to do something where you want to get the background in, you cannot use portrait. Does that make sense? And I'm by no means a technical human being when it comes to these things. My partner, she is exceptional and is also a trained photographer. So it's not surprising, really. And the level of photographs she takes compared to mine is chalk and cheese. But the point is that it's doable with some of the features that are on these newer phones. Okay, a mini tripod with a smartphone mount. I'm pretty sure you can buy one of them for 20, 30 bucks and have them delivered. Okay, I have like one of these things here. You can see that. No? Like a ring light, for example, which is good, and it has a clip on the other end of it, and so on. Okay, portable ring light, external microphone for a smartphone. There's ones that'll plug into your mic, portable battery pack, and a power bank. Okay, it also has additional accessories, food styling kit, portable backgrounds and backdrops, smartphone editing apps. And it all, oh wow, look at this. It gives you a price breakdown of where you can get this stuff, including editing apps and so on. It also gives you suggested setup and workflow on how to prep, how to capture the content, how to edit, which is exceptional. I didn't ask it for that, but it's given me a full breakdown, right? So whenever you're thinking, oh, I don't know how much that would cost, what do I need? Going onto a website or going onto Google and Googling something and finding a blog where somebody's written an article about it, and you know, the top five top best smartphones for video, or the best editing tools. It's very hard to know whether that article isn't just a affiliate marketer's article. So what do I mean by that? It means somebody writes an article, probably using ChatGPT, by the way, and then all of the items that are suggested, they go to that website, they sign up as an affiliate, get a referral key, they come back to the article, they highlight that word of the brand and put what's called a hyperlink in behind it. So when it turns blue, basically, and when you click on it, it brings you off to that website, buy that thing, and that person gets a kickback. Okay, so number one, it's incentivized, right? Which is a good idea, by the way, if you want to make an affiliate marketing blog business. It's very easy to do, but that's how those things work. So you don't really know, is that the best way or not? You can't ask it questions. So using ChatGPT like this is really, really effective. Okay, so I already have a smartphone that can do all of this, I will be buying all equipment that's just for example, right? All the other equipment next month and have a budget of, somebody give me a budget, a low budget. Anyone? Okay, 130 euros it is. I'll be buying all the other equipment in the next month and have a budget on it. Which are the essential purchases and where can I source them? Please share links to specific items on the list with pricing. Okay, so here we go. We'll see what it comes back with, right? So let's just imagine. Now I have a lot of these things anyway. Some of them I don't have, right? So I already have a smartphone that can do all of this. I will be buying all the other equipment in the next month and have a budget of X amount. What are the essential purchases and where can I source them? Please share links to specific items on the list with pricing. So it's now searching the web and see what it comes back with. Okay. Okay, here we go. So here's a breakdown of essential items within a 130 euro budget. So whatever your budget is, now your budget obviously can't be like €5. All right, you need an actual budget. Where are you going to buy this? Here's a Manfrotto mini Pixie mini tripod with a clamp. Okay. And there's some alternative ones that are priced similarly on Amazon. Portable ring light or a clip-on light, which you can just clip onto the phone, a clip-on microphone, and where can I source them? Amazon.co.uk is the closest place for me. Didn't fully answer my question because I actually wanted actual links with prices beside them. Okay, let's see what it does. I don't know if it can put links in here. Maybe you can. Maybe you can't. Ah, there we go. So there's no excuse for not knowing what to buy because it's right there. So literally, if we were to put together a little pack for our members, for example, or your team members on how to get set up to begin to make this type of content, let's say while doing our Legacy Builder Professional program, then you would just, or you can just ask me and I will give you this right here, or you can go through the same prompts. I'll give you the same prompts and all you do at the bottom is you just copy it there. And you can put it into a document, make it into a PDF and share it with your team. On a PDF, online PDF, you can still click links and it'll bring you directly to where you need to go. That means everyone on your team or in your group or the people you're supporting or whatever, they will also have access to these things. So if you're doing anything collaborative with those people, you'll all have the right stuff to use to be able to create the content you want to create. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Any questions? Renata, do you have any questions? Okay, Roger?
No, it's sort of interesting. I didn't know it could do that. But that's good because I think I've got an idea how to use it for various things now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm learning something every time I hear a response. I read a response because I didn't know it could do that either. Right. So here, let's move over now. Okay. So now we're looking at an M3 strategy. Okay. So now we're building something online. We are a group of people. In this case, I've done it's incorporating two things. Okay. We'll go back to the start here. Okay, so I have to give it some context. Obviously, we're not going to go through all of this for fairly obvious reasons. So here's me. My name's Lloyd. Hello. I've been running a mastermind group for the last 6 years called Mindtrust Mastery. Here are the mastermind principles that I use on my call. Okay, so you could do this, Renato, for yours once you create the mastermind principles, and it will train the AI in this particular thread to exactly what it is your call is about and the focus and energy of the call to communicate that energy to the people that you would like to mastermind with. Does that make sense? Okay. And so there they are. And it also says and also it counts for my silly typos, by the way. We mastermind together, build lifelong authentic connections with one another, and identify opportunities where we can create multiple sources of incoming. That's supposed to say income, obviously, with individuals, both individually and where relevant, collaboratively. I'm also beginning an online digital marketing business and advocating for a program called Legacy Builder Professional, details of which are found at this link. Write me 7 social media posts for Instagram that may marry these two programs into one cohesive approach to social media marketing. Okay, so did really good stuff. Power of connection beyond the individual, co-creation in action, sacred energy meets strategy. All of that's based off of the mastermind principles that I have. Now, if you were to put in the mastermind principles used by Bob Proctor, you would not get this because they're different. And the focus is different. They only use the same language, don't really have the same focus. So I said, great, now write me 3 separate video scripts following the engage, entertain, and educate framework for each of the 7 posts for me to choose from. Now, so when we talk about prompts and knowing what to say, if you don't know what engage, entertain, educate means, you're never going to write that prompt. Okay, so you could go in a separate thread and say, what is the most effective structure of a social media post to produce this type of a result with this particular customer persona? Does that make sense? This is the group I want to speak to. This is the type of way I want to turn up on social media. What would be the most effective way for me to do that? I want structures of systems and tactics used on social media that are very effective at the moment. And it'll tell you what it thinks based on the statistics. Me and Christo, when we were the fun guys years ago, used to teach engage, entertain, and educate as a framework. Okay, so the first thing is when you come on the camera, it's like, hey, how's it going? Oh, there you are. Right, so you've engaged somebody, right? I mean, you could be a little bit better than that. This is off the cuff here, right? The next thing I want to do is I want to entertain somebody, right? And that could be using a funny accent. That could be having a funny little interaction between you and another person on the camera. That could be telling a joke. That could be saying, you know what I really hate, right? Is all these people talking to me about how I can make money doing this, that, and the other. All I want to do is absolutely nothing and get paid. Does that sound familiar? Right? So people are going to be engaged by that. Why? Because it's, number one, it's ridiculous. And it's designed to get people to say no. So then we can talk to them about what actually the reality of the situation is. Okay? So then we want to educate people about something. Okay, so that structure, whether or not you know how to do it in off the cuff, right? I didn't do an exceptional job of it there. It's not really the point, is that you can train ChatGPT to give you answers to how you might potentially do that. So what I've said, so these are the posts that it said. It has a question. Ever wondered why some people achieve massive breakthroughs when they collaborate while others struggle on their own? Which is a good point, right? Think about this. You walk into a room filled with ambitious, like-minded individuals. Suddenly ideas flow, energy sparks. You leave that room feeling like you could conquer anything. That's the power of collaboration, and we see it every day in our Mindtrust Mastery, which is very accurate, okay? And educate at Mindtrust Mastery, we bring people together to co-create, which we do, and not compete. Now with Legacy Builder Professional, we're taking this power into the digital space, empowering you to build a profitable, purpose-driven business while staying true to your values. Let's shift from the me to us and start building legacies together. Okay, so that's quite good, I think, and it's very accurate. The reason why it's so accurate is because I put in the mastermind principles to train the AI on exactly what it is that we stand for and what we do here. Okay? If our focus is on real estate, none of this would make sense, for example. So Roger, I know you're running a mastermind around real estate. So what you would say is, look, I'm bringing together people from this area in Australia who are interested in buying multi-family units, let's just say, for example, in this part of Australia. They're typically working with this type of budget and have this amount of access to finance and are looking to collaboratively work together to support one another in finding better opportunities and potentially partnering together from a finance perspective in applying for loans to buy these properties and share the resources that come from that or whatever. And it'll give you interesting video script suggestions. And these are just suggestions. So I looked at that and I said, that's pretty good, but let me see, can I make it better? Okay, now I want 3 video script options for each post. So now I've got option 1, 2, and 3. Okay, I've got a personal storytelling approach, a direct invitation approach, and a visual story approach. And then I've the next video post, I've got a challenge and reflect approach, a quick tip approach, and a real life application approach. Every one of these is different, right? And then I get all the way down here. And then I said, look, can we do it without using the name and just give the value instead? Okay, so then it does this, that, does that. And then I came down and asked it another question down here. These are the 4 avatars that I want to speak to. I can share this with you just to save you having to write this all out. Okay. And then based on these 4 separate customer avatars, rewrite the above scripts for each. So now I've got more level of detail. This one is for the complete beginner. This one is for the intermediate. This one is for the advanced. And this one is for the visionary. Okay. So like, I couldn't imagine a better result than this. Okay, far better than I would come up on my own with the current level of expertise that I have. And so this allows me to be more strategic, more effective, ideally, but certainly more structured in the approach that I take. Now, okay, so didn't really answer the question exactly the way I wanted, so I made some clarification, and it went into more detail. And then it says, would you like me to continue? Because it doesn't do out the whole post, and it only got halfway through. So I said, yes, completed the whole thing. Are you familiar with, this is another thing. If you ask AI to do something, okay, but it doesn't know who the person is that you're talking about, it won't do it accurately. So if you were to say, for example, to write a meditation script for you, to do a voiceover for a guided meditation, and you said, do it in the style of Abraham Hicks, for example, and the AI doesn't know, I mean, obviously it would, but doesn't know who Abraham Hicks is, or doesn't know that style, then it's not going to do it properly. And anyone who actually does know that style, when you produce this thing and put it out there, is going to say, that's nothing like that person. Okay? If that's the way you've pitched it. Does that make sense? So you have to ask the question, are you familiar with, in this case, Jordan Belfort and the straight line theory sales technique? Okay? Which is something that we've masterminded on previously, and it's very effective in direct face-to-face communication, but it can come across a little bit salesy if it's not done properly and you don't understand tone and pacing and things like that, and so on. So it says, yes, I'm familiar, and then it tells you a breakdown of the style. And I said, great, so I'd like you to repeat the whole task completed above as if you were Jordan Belfort, using all of his nuanced techniques, including tonality, body language, and pacing. Now, I wouldn't know to ask those questions if I didn't know the actual work myself. Does that make sense? So I'd never say tonality, body language, or pacing unless I knew to ask those questions. And it gives me a complete information on tonality, on the direct option, a solution-orientated way with tonality, where to pause, what facial expressions to make, everything. That's amazing. Okay, so now this is part that I think is really, really important. The AI will learn what you like. Okay, it'll learn the way that you want to communicate. So here I've said, use this framework going forward for all of my scripts and post suggestions. Okay, so now it recaps on what I have asked to say, just to be clear, here's a recap on the framework that we're going to use. Okay. And now I've asked it, are you familiar with another thing called My Lifestyle Academy, the ATM strategy? We've taught this for years. In fact, we had John Melton on the platform and we had him do a masterclass for us back in 2020. And I was doing his program at the time. And so it gives me, it says, yes, we're familiar with how that works. Are you familiar with how many value posts versus lifestyle posts and clear offer posts, etc.? There's a ratio that they use, which is 70% of what you post is value, 20% is lifestyle, and 10% is a clear offer. Okay. Now, just to clarify for those of you on the call here and whoever's watching, under no circumstances am I expecting somebody who's brand new to social media to have any expectation of doing this. This is way beyond what you're going to be able to manage and get your head around. So you don't need to worry about it. The point is how specific you can go with the tool that you have. Okay. And then I said, I don't want to be too pushy, but I'd like to do the 70-20-10 ratio. And then it shows me how to do it in a non-pushy way. And then I said, actually, what are the pros and cons of mixing these styles? And it gave me pros and cons for the whole lot. Okay, then I asked it, what's your suggestion? And it gave me its suggestion. Okay, then I talked about some of the stuff that I've done. And then I retrained it on that. And it gave me loads of suggestions on how to do things. So after all that, I was able to put up the pros and cons of the mashup of those three strategies. And then I was also how to do a tailored, unique strategy for me based on an author of a book, etc., on visualization. So that was likely a little bit heavy for anybody who's not used ChatGPT before. But here's the point. You ask a simple question, you get a simple answer. You ask a nuanced question, you get a nuanced answer. You can then ask it to turn the nuanced answer into a really simple strategy. So you need to play around with it. I've been using ChatGPT for a couple of years, not all that often, and I haven't used it like I did just now. I only started doing that this week. I was working with Mark. Mark was like, why don't you ask it this? Why don't you ask it that? And then I had some of my own ideas. And I said, you know what is it we were using in 2020 when we were growing really fast? Okay. What were we teaching? What were we doing? What was our strategy, etc.? And a business without a strategy is not business. And I know you need to go now as well, because it's late there, Roger. So thank you. So that's the story. Somewhere below this video, you'll see a link to our mastermind community where you can create a free account if you wish and come and mastermind with us. This is more of a masterclass call, but we also run a mastermind where we deep dive into issues and ideas around personal development, also business development, and lots of other things. And at the end of every call, we take a hilarious screenshot, which we then share on social media quite often. There we go. This is actually one of my favorite funny ones. And then there you go. And a 1 and a 2 and a, there you go. So look, we like to have fun here. Everything's not completely serious all the time. But with that being said, I will speak to you all soon. And again, if you do want to come and mastermind with us, you can click the link below. And if you want to learn more about legacy builder and professional, I'll leave that link in the description as well. So thanks very much, everybody. Have a lovely day. Peace out.
Bye-bye.